JBN, we keep you informed. Sixth suspect held in murder of Tamara Gibbs. Members of the Criminal Investigation Branch are now questioning a sixth suspect in connection with the murder of 36-year-old Tamara Gibbs, who was shot and killed in her bedroom in the rural community of Reserve in Trelawney in the presence of her 10-year-old daughter on Friday, June 19. According to a highly placed police source, the sixth individual now in custody is believed to be the shooter. The suspect was picked up by the police sometime last week. So far, the accused in Gibbs' killing include her sister, 39-year-old Nadine Gibbs, and her two daughters, one of whom is a minor. A fourth woman, 33-year-old Tashana Young, and a 55-year-old farmer Owen Irving, both of Hampton District, Salt Spring in St. James, have also been slapped with charges in connection with the killing. Irving reportedly gave a statement to the police in which he confessed to collecting $250,000 to hire a hitman to kill the 36-year-old Gibbs. The three family members are accused of conspiring to hire a gunman to carry out the hit on their close family member. They were picked up by the police at their Trelawney home, which they shared with the deceased on Tuesday, July 13. Police said within 24 hours after they were picked up, they reportedly gave caution statements admitting to planning and hiring the gunman to kill Tamara. Young and Irving were subsequently nabbed by the police in Westmoreland. They were allegedly both engaged to hire the triggerman. The four female accused who appeared in court on Wednesday, July 22, were remanded until September 4. It is still not clear when Irving will make his first court appearance. Two men arrested for brutal murder of St. James accountant. Two men were yesterday arrested in connection with the murder of St. James accountant Stephen McPherson, who was killed while attempting to rescue his daughter from hoodlums. The police report that on July 22, McPherson was on his way home in Bogue Heights, St. James from work when he saw men in a Toyota Vitz and a Toyota Voxy accosting his daughter and pointing a gun at her. McPherson stopped to intervene and was shot in the face, reportedly by the driver of the Vitz. McPherson drove off but crashed, having succumbed to his injuries. The occupants of both vehicles then sped off. The police say an extensive operation was conducted on July 28 across 3 locations in St. James and Hanover, which led to the arrest of the two men. The police further say that they also recovered the Toyota Vitz that was allegedly used in the commission of the crime. One of the men arrested was identified as the owner of the motor vehicle. According to the police, detectives used a variety of approaches in the investigation of the incident, including cyber forensics and other technological methods. One of the men was placed on an identification parade yesterday where it was pointed out. Both men remain in police custody as the investigation continues. JCF Special Ops Branch nabs top-tier high-value criminals. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says it has arrested 256 people over the past year thanks to the work of its Specialized Operations Branch. In a statement yesterday, JCF said that since its inception almost a year ago, the branch has made significant strides in the apprehension of top-tier criminals, the seizure of illegal weapons, and overall reduction in crime across the island. According to Superintendent Howard Chambers, the officer in charge of operations and the training at the branch, the operations in the past year have targeted 40 of the nation's deadliest gangs. Chambers noted that many of the operations were intelligence-driven. The JCF said the operations have yielded the seizure of 52 firearms, 6 of which were high-powered rifles, the seizure of 1,152 assorted rounds of ammunition, the arrest of 256 individuals, 76 of whom were wanted for various crimes, and 8 others who were considered high-value targets. We are confident that with continuous collaboration with internal and external stakeholders and infusing of critical resources in the intelligence unit, by extension the JCF will ultimately dismantle these gangs, Chambers said. The police are encouraging members of the public to assist in dismantling dangerous gangs by reporting crime or any suspicious activities to the police 119 emergency number, Crime Stopper 311, or the nearest police station. Kingston man gets 10 years for tricking teen girl into prostitution. An accused trafficker was sentenced in the Home Circuit Court on July 31 for trafficking and living on the earnings of prostitution of a young girl. The man, Devon Scott, was sentenced to 9 years and 5 months imprisonment at hard labor for the offense of trafficking in persons and 12 months imprisonment at hard labor for the offense of living on the earnings of prostitution. Both sentences will run concurrently, meaning that he will spend 9 years and 5 months in prison. He was also ordered by the court to pay a sum in restitution to the victim within a period of 6 months. The trial before Justice Georgina Fraser began on February 3 and ended on June 19. Scott had been charged on an indictment containing 3 counts, 2 counts of trafficking in persons relating to 2 victims pursuant to the Trafficking in Persons Prevention, Suppression and Punishment Act, and 1 count of living on the earnings of prostitution pursuant to the Sexual Offences Act. He was found guilty by the judge alone for the offences of trafficking in persons of one of the victims and living on the earnings of prostitution. The facts outlined by the prosecution were that the accused operated a business of sorts, in which he was assisted by his baby mother. In 2016, the victim and another girl were recruited by the accused and his baby mother over Facebook, under the guise of their engagement in promotional dancing. Both young women were from rural Jamaica and were not familiar with Kingston and St. Andrew. At the time, one girl was 16 and the victim was 18. In 2016, the accused and his baby mother met the young victim in person at a plaza in Spanish Town, and the victim was driven to premises in Kingston 10, where Scott resided and operated his business. Upon arrival at his house, the victim observed several other young girls there and she was given a room for herself. According to the evidence, Scott told the victim that the other girls at his house did promotional dancing at bars and other business on the side, which meant they had sex with men for money. The trafficker and his baby mother purchased skimming outfits for the girls and the victim that from the evidence were intended to attract male attention. Scott informed the victim of the monetary arrangements for sexual engagement with men. He also told the victim that half of the money made would go to the victim and the other half would go to him. From April to July 2016, men paid the accused to have sex with the victim. These men would, on occasion, visit the accused's house to engage in sexual intercourse with the victim and other girls. The victim would also, on occasion, do out-call services, where she would leave the house along with the accused and his baby mother and visit men at a place of their choice to engage in sexual intercourse. At all times, the accused was in charge of making these arrangements between the men and the girls. The victim gave evidence at trial that she was tricked into leaving her home based on the belief that she was being hired as a promotional dancer, but instead was lured into being a sex worker upon her arrival at the premises located in Kingston 10. She had sex with men 2 times daily, 7 days of the week. There were occasions, however, when the victim went to places to dance and had received 3/4 of the money charged for dancing, and the accused received the remaining quarter. The prosecution called 7 witnesses. Throughout the trial, the evidence of all witnesses placed the accused in the driver's seat of this operation, and the court found this to be true. The court also found that the accused's baby mother played an equal role as the accused. The court found that the evidence established that the victim was exploited through prostitution. Scott stoutly denied the claims during his sworn testimony at the trial, and his defense was that he was framed by his baby mother. In 2016, the Justice Ministry first reported that lawmen visited a bar in Kingston after receiving reports of exotic dancing, human trafficking, and other sexual activities. 3 females, including a 16-year-old minor, were rescued by the police and were deemed to be victims of human trafficking after being processed. The vehicle that was used to transport the females was also seized by the police and became the subject of an asset forfeiture and money laundering investigation. Scott was then listed as a 41-year-old farmer. Sandy Bay, Clarendon, under community quarantine. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, in collaboration with the Clarendon Health Department and the Southern Regional Health Authority, reviewed the recent positive COVID-19 cases coming out of Clarendon and recommended community quarantine for Sandy Bay. The area will be quarantined for 14 days, from today at 6 a.m. to Thursday, August 20 at 6 a.m. 2 positive cases are admitted to the Mapen Hospital, and contact tracing carried out has yielded 6 positive contacts of these 2 people, including an imported case, the ministry said. The ministry said community surveillance was carried out in Sandy Bay and the neighboring communities, which led to significant cause for concern because of a lack of adherence to infection prevention and control measures. Crowd gathering was observed without use of face masks in one church, where several people with respiratory illnesses were noted. Members of the church were found to be positive, the ministry noted. Another 13 people have been found with symptoms and have been sampled, and there are an additional 2 confirmed cases and a suspected case from Roswell, a community neighbor in Sandy Bay, and from which several people attend the same church. Due to the number of positive cases and the number of people with symptoms in the community, the health authorities have concluded that there is considerable risk for further transmission and infection in this community, the ministry said. It said exposed people in the community may develop infection and spread it to other community members, resulting in a rapid increase in the number of positive cases. This is due to the high movement of persons within the affected households within the community, the high population density in the area identified, and the high vulnerability of persons in the community to severe illness due to age, comorbidities, and other socio-economic factors, the ministry said. The quarantine is to restrict further movement and to slow and prevent exposure. McKenzie urges Brownstown market vendors to be more responsible. Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, has urged vendors at the Brownstown Market in St. Anne to be more responsible while operating within the space. Vendors have their share of responsibility in regard to how they conduct themselves in the market, he said, noting that they have a duty to ensure that the environment is pleasing and welcoming for themselves and shoppers. McKenzie was speaking following a tour of the market on Tuesday this week. He has committed $15 million towards the refurbishing of the market in order to create a cleaner and more comfortable environment for the more than 700 vendors who operate at the facility, including sellers of ground provisions and haberdashery. This is an immediate need. It's time now that something is done to the market, McKenzie said. Market clerk Doreen Pearson told JS News that she's excited about the work to be undertaken to improve the facility. I am glad that the minister came to see the market, and I can now say to the vendors that the market is going to be repaired. You're going to get clean places to stay, clean bathrooms, and so on, Pearson pointed out. The touring party included Mayor of St. Anne's Bay Council Sidney Stewart and a person from the St. Anne Municipal Corporation. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.